Hello, and welcome to the Black Mind Podcast, episode 180. It almost happened that I wasn't going to be hosting this episode. My name is...
Like every other episode?
Like every other episode. My name is Jeff. Joining me, as always, is Josh. Hi, Josh. Josh.
God damn it, I will snap that thing.
Josh's voice has been replaced by a slide whistle. Well, now,
I swallowed a slide whistle. Now every other time I breathe in, you just hear it.
Oh, don't you dare.
And then also joining us this week is Allan. Allan, how are you?
Hello.
How are the tears?
Good.
You
I'm
got
semi-sick again.
You got stabbed by a feminist today.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. Shut up. She was like, "Hey, you're on the Black Mind Podcast." Stab, and I was like, "Oh, Allan, are you okay?" That didn't happen.
No, it didn't happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're almost done.
I'm almost done for the work season. Got a month to go. Literally 4 weeks.
And then he's going to be happy again.
Then I'll be on this. I come online, beat someone up.
He's gonna.
I'm free, bitches. I'm free, bitches. Is all I just say out loud.
Yeah. So I guess we have a few things that we have to talk about. Like, the Edmonton Expo happened. I didn't go.
Because you're a scrub.
Yep. But Josh and Allan went, representing the Black Mind.
Yeah.
On 2 different days.
Different days. I went Saturday with a friend and he has a friend that came from Scotland, I believe.
Oh,
yeah, it was Scotland.
Scotland?
It was Scotland.
Like the Scotland Yard.
Well, the funny thing is, he has a hint of an accent, and that's about it. You think he's a typical Canadian? Like, come on.
Did he wear a utility kilt?
No, again, you think he's Canadian Asian. He's not.
I am disappointed in him.
Wait. You think he's Canadian Asian? What?
Trust me. If you look at him and go, oh, he looks like any typical dude, until you hear him talk and go, I hear a little bit of Scottish accent in the background. It's like, yeah, he came from Scotland.
You mean Asian Canadian?
He came from Scotland because he paid, basically, my friend streams all the fucking time, and he's actually somewhat big on Twitch. He's like thousands of viewers every day he streams. So he has like this weird, I think he has a Patreon or like has a plan of like, oh, he's just subscribed to me for such a long time. I'll pay for your flight trip to be over here and we can just do a thing. And I forget what was the thing he was supposed to be doing, but because I was going to the expo on Saturday, and my friend who streams all the time still wants to go. He's like, oh, I'll just invite this dude over as well, because whatever, just we'll all have fun there. And I'm like, oh, where's this dude? Who's this dude? And where's he coming from? Scotland. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I was like, that's interesting.
You keep on name dropping this person, and yet we have never met him in his life. Are you sure he exists?
He exists.
I have to ask.
Again, his name is Jonathan, and he has a stream called, Cherno TV with an underscore. I mean, I'm just plugging to no one, but I mean, if you want to see his shit, he speedruns all the time. I mean, if you're into that, just go up to his stream. It's fun. He does it like every day almost. All
I'm thinking about right now is how I can make profit off of this.
I don't know. Once we make a game, we'll just throw it in his face and see if we can make revenue off of it.
Just be like, hey, you know that friend that you have named Josh? Yeah, we secretly need you to support this thing so Josh can make money so he can move out of his parents' basement.
Shh, don't tell anyone.
It's funny because my dad's right outside my room and he just heard me say that.
No, we're like, shh, don't tell anyone that. And it's like, I'm streaming right now, and you just yell that into the mic. Shh.
What we do is we just are like, hey, just say that we're friends, and then you just watch and be like, okay.
I just can't wait till we put out a game and then someone's like, "Did you do this? Are you guys evil?" And we go, "Well, I thought we made this public in the first place, didn't we? Didn't he say he could do this? We said he can. He's just doing whatever."
We did tell him to like tell you guys, didn't we? I'm pretty sure we did.
Yeah, didn't we?
Yeah.
I was like. Anyway, Expo was fun. I went on Saturday, and Allan went on Sunday.
Yep, I went on Sunday, and then I watched the new Lego movie Ninjago after which. Good movie.
Ooh, nice.
It's not as good as Batman. It's not as good as a Lego movie, but it's good. It gets fucking deep at like 3 different moments, and I'm like, yo, bro, just like this is a kids movie. Yo,
brah. But yeah, and I just want to touch on the Expo of like, you know, the shit I saw and the shit I did, and man, nothing, man, like, you know, the Expo I went to the Expo a couple of times, and I think this is my 5th or 4th time going. And I'm like, oh, I know what to expect. And now this year was really different because, you know, before you're like, oh, I'm going to buy a ticket at the fucking place, because usually when you're like, oh, I'm going to pre-buy a ticket, it's like it doesn't matter because you never save money ever. And even though they say you save money, it's like $1. And also, it's just like, oh, those tickets never sell out because it's like it's all day that they sell those fucking tickets, and there's people leaving and walking around constantly. So it was like, what? Like, yeah, sure, you're gonna sell out immediately, whatever. So I go buy the tickets on Saturday with my friends, and we're like, oh wow. For some reason, there's a lineup going out from like the door that you see from going into it, and it goes out from the door and curving around the building. And you're like, the fuck? Like, why is this lineup here? Because the years before, that never happened. You go through the doors of the building, you go into one of the halls that's completely empty and vacant, and that was where all the lineups were. So you just enter in through that way. And it's like, well, why is this such a lineup over here? It was like, whatever. So we kept going through the. Actually, we thought we had to line up in that lineup first. So we're going all the way to the far back of it, and then we found a person who was trying to maintain the lineup. We're like, oh, is this where you buy the tickets? And the guy's like, no, you have to go in the building, buy the ticket, and then come over here. And we're like, what? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. So, of course, me and the friends were walking down to the fucking building going like, so this is start of the boss, huh? Or is this the mid-boss? This is the mid-boss? So this is the mid-boss. We have to get the ticket. We have to defeat 1 or 2 minions here. And then we get the ticket. That's the mid-boss. We finally got our tickets when we got into the building. Surprisingly, that lineup was super short because no one knew where the fuck to buy the tickets.
Yep.
We got the tickets. Now we went all the way back to that lineup, and surprisingly, the lineup was going pretty fast. So we're like, okay, so we get in that lineup, and it was like we're just going through a steady pace. And we're like, okay, this is not too long. It's like 5 minutes. And then finally we got into the building, and we're like, oh, look at all this empty space they could have used for like the several hundred people are trying to get fucking into this building.
But why would they want people inside the convention, Josh? So that way then they can be like, oh my god, rep.
Like, it was like, oh, fucking Christ. It was like, and basically we're going in and we're like, oh, no wonder it was like, you know, the lineup was stretching so far because they let Ticketmaster make the fucking line. And it's like, why did you let them do this? It's like they don't know jack shit from pulling from their ass. It's like, geez.
Josh, how much do you hate Ticketmaster?
They have a fucking monopoly, so a lot.
It's just sending people Josh against monopolies.
Yeah, because A, the Monopoly board game sucks ass, and B, it shows that the game's not fun, not in life either.
Hey, I like Monopoly. Monopoly is a good board game.
Oh, no, it ain't.
It's
awesome.
destroys families and ends relationships, except it's a game that only takes you an hour to play.
No. This is how you win Monopoly. You just fuck over Allan really hard.
You play the banker. That's what you
Repeatedly.
do.
You just screw him over and over again until he flips the board and calls it, and then you win.
Oh no! So I've actually my mom actually knows like the rules of by heart for Monopoly. So I learned how to play Monopoly. I learned how to play proper Monopoly. No. I've beaten my mom once because I played by the rules. But at the same time, I know for a fact that I don't think I could ever actually properly beat my mom because I actually had a situation where I dragged it out into a point of stalemate. Of just drawing like whenever we'd fucking roll, whenever me and my mom would roll, we'd always land on our own like plots of land.
Yeah.
So we'd always just like, oh look, I land on this one. Looks like I don't owe any money. Oh look, I passed go. I pick up $200. I spend the $200 on fucking
actually,
hotels.
The irony of what you two did is the Canadian Monopoly right now.
Yep.
What are you referring to? What Monopoly?
The fucking there's like two of them I can think of, but the main one is fucking TELUS, Bell, and Shaw.
telecoms.
Yeah, telecoms. There we go.
That's we are so much better off than our American cousins.
True, but our cell phone plans still suck ass.
Well, because
all cell phone plans actually just straight up suck.
In Canada, go freedom.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Canada like fucking suck ass. But if you go to freaking South Africa, you get like 30 gigs. Like I'm not kidding.
Even if you go down south, you get a better cell phone plan. You get like unlimited data, and they charge you through the nose for it. But it's like you get unlimited data. Whereas like in Canada, it's like I have 6 gigs. I pay $100 a month. And I'm thinking about upgrading my phone to like Note 8, and because I work at a retail store, I get benefits and stuff like that. I get discounts and stuff like that. So the retail store has a partnership with one of the telecoms. And guess what my boss told me? I was like, oh, like I'm thinking about switching over to TELUS and stuff like that. And he goes, oh, don't switch to this one, and you get this for this much. And it was better than what I have right now. And I was just like, okay. But like, I'm honestly actually like really like the telecoms here are like so much more reasonable and stuff like that because they at least compete with each other and you at least get competition. Like they actually went out of their way. TELUS actually has Netflix built into all of their boxes now.
Yep,
and they include it in their subscription service.
I can testify this. Shaw has it too, but Shaw has on demand as well. So like,
and like Shaw like sits there and at least like goes like, oh, we're just going to bring Xfinity over, and like Shaw will at least like you will have them do stuff, like Crave TV
like, that thing is like okay. So I know Josh is not going to like me saying this, but our telecom network that is like, you know, monopolized by these, I think 4 or 5 companies.
8. It's like 4. Yeah, 5.
Yeah, something like that. The reason why I say that's actually a really good thing is because, believe it or not, even though it's only owned by
4%,
4% of the population, they actually do their job. Like legit, they do their job. We still don't get much data out of it, but it's a fair price rather than being like, you know, oh look, you get 30 gigs, but you're paying like $180 for like all 30 gigs.
Yeah, but and the other thing too is like think about it like this, Josh, is like the telecoms that we have here, like they're doing stuff to actually fuck over each other.
Yeah,
and they're actually doing it well.
They're actually competing with each other. Because like I remember when TELUS came out with like, oh yeah, by the way, Netflix is a thing. Shaw on Demand just snapped their head and said, every week different free movies, go.
One of the other things that they did was they created Show Me, which shut down, and then they also created Crave, which I would consider a mainstay. nowadays.
No, it's actually a really good function actually.
Yeah, and it's awesome. Like if you want to ask me like the two networks that you should at least have a subscription to, if you're thinking about like getting a network,
Streaming?
it's Crave and Netflix.
Yep.
Because
without a doubt.
Yeah, and it's like Amazon, yeah, sure, whatever, but like you get Amazon basically for free with Prime.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do you get really? You get The Tick, which is okay. It's a good show and stuff like that, and you get the Grand Tour. Everything else you could just basically walk off a cliff and never watch again. Whereas like on Crave you get Letterkenny, all of the HBO shows. Like all of them. You get Seinfeld, you get South Park, and it's like, oh, okay, like this is pretty good.
Yep.
Like,
well, my only problem with Crave TV though is it's hit or fucking miss sometimes with that service.
And they're also owned by Rogers.
That too.
Who I despise. Although that being said,
I don't mind Rogers. I don't mind Rogers all that bad. Like,
I don't mind them. I think their Center Ice app is actually well handled and stuff like that. But like the problem I have with Rogers is like TSN was actively kicking your ass, and then you just buy the main thing that everyone was watching TSN for because they were kicking your ass.
Yep.
Like,
I mean,
it wasn't.
If your opponent is beating you with something, just turn them. Maybe just buy out them out,
or get the people who were the ones who were doing the job. Like, yeah. Bob McKenzie is a fucking good hockey analyst. Anyways.
Oh yeah, no.
Anyways, going back to Josh's original point. Yes, you're 100% correct. Our telecommunications and stuff like that, the CPACA is just bad.
Not doing,
It's could be better, but it's bad.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's way better than some other places though.
Yep. And also just to touch on other dumb things I saw at the expo. I saw the LOL So Random Kids crowd, and I'm like, yep, that's the LOL So Random Kids crowd, because they were fucking, Homestock and fucking wearing rainbow bullshit, and they're also listening to very loud.
I got lucky then, because I saw some of it, but I didn't see much. Apparently, from what I got told from some of the artists, it was really bad on Saturday.
Yeah, because there's a few of them that I was like, fuck, you need to get punched in the face.
What's the LOL So Random crowd?
Again, Homestock, wearing random rainbow bullshit clothing.
Okay, actually, I'll correct Josh on that. Think like Tumblr, but made manifest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so people who would paint my black striped shred.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, just me panicking, going. Ah! Watch my boss just freak the out. Just go oh god.
But, well, I think I looked at that table, but I can't remember jack shit from it. But there was one little table that was selling fucking like these little slipper, like your grandma's slipper made out of like kind of like leather.
Oh,
like,
I know what you're talking about.
Did you see that booth? Because I was like, I'm looking around going, did you realize what you're signing up to? This is a fucking geek convention. What are you doing here?
Yep.
It's like, oh god. It's like, why are you here? It's like, you look like you're so lost.
You look incredibly out of place
money on this
here.
table. Like, oh.
Don't worry, Josh. Don't worry, Josh. They were old. They don't have a lot of money to begin with.
I just took 3 seconds looking at this table and kept walking because I felt so bad. I was like, why are you here?
My favorite one that I saw at the convention, and I know you saw it. I guarantee you saw it, and you thought about spending $400 for one of them. Was the fact that they had a combat capable lightsabers.
Oh, really? Did they?
Yep.
Because
For $400.
I saw the booth.
For $400.
I saw the booth that had all the swords.
There were 4 of those, just so you know.
So
Yeah.
Alan, how much money did you spend at the convention?
I only spent $120.
So you were responsible.
I was actually holding on to 2 different people's wallets over the course of that time. So I was actually incredibly responsible because I wanted to make sure that nobody got fucked over.
You should have just, Alan. Nobody would have.
You should have fucked over both of your friends so you can get the coolest shit possible.
Well, let's be honest. Chris would come and murder us if we tell him to do that. But you should have. Yes, you should have done that, Alan. I'm very upset that you didn't. I'm very disappointed. I'm as disappointed as that time when Josh could have robbed a Walmart blinded and he didn't.
Yep.
Nope. Yeah.
Okay. So another real big thing for me, by the way, is the fact that while I was there, I love the guy. I also fucking hate him. Is the Marco Polo guy.
Marco Polo guy. Oh,
yeah.
right.
Yeah, like how you say it, and you're like, oh, right. I love it, but at the same time, there are just like I was walking around, and all of a sudden it's like Marco, and just everyone would shout out Polo, like how he's done for years. I have no problem with that. I really don't. But like, I won't like legit lie. It was actually like really frustrating for me this year because I was like, stop. I just want to just like enjoy the convention and mull about the crowd. Also, I met the voice actor for Goku. Fucking wicked.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
If he's there again next year, I'm definitely buying something from him.
Did you ask him who would win in a fight between him and Saitama?
No, him and
we made that joke, and
Superman.
He looked at us. He says, "I'm not going there." I was like, "Oh."
Or him and Superman.
Well, we all know who would win that fight. Clearly, Goku. I mean, God, Josh.
Oh, do you remember the outrage caused by that?
Oh fuck! I was like, no way, Goku would totally win.
Well,
And it's
okay,
like,
so here's the thing, and I like. I'm not gonna lie. I saw that fight. I'm like, Goku should win this because Ki is basically magic.
Yeah,
that is literally what Ki is. Ki is literally magic. It is spiritual energy. It is magic, and then it just didn't happen. I was just sitting there like, what? What?
Well, it's like
I saw how the fight ended. I was like, what?
Well, it's like when they had Yang versus Tifa. I was just like,
no. That one I agree with. I actually agree with that one.
No, because Tifa should have just wiped the floor with her.
Okay. I actually agree with
depends.
It really depends. The reason why I agree with them on the fact of Tifa losing to fucking Yang is the fact that she can apparently suplex a thing that is bigger than a city. No, that's not how it works, Jeff.
oh fuck!
Wait, Tifa can suplex a thing bigger than a city?
Like the fucking like ultra like super hard boss that like spawns sometimes when you're in one of the deserts.
Oh.
Yeah, that thing's huge, and you're like
you can suplex it in game. It actually does the animation where she suplexes it. I'm like, and it's like it's great that she's actually like really strong, and she is actually like she's a strong character. In my opinion, they are on par. They are straight up on par. But the thing is, I agree with them on the leaning towards Yang Xiaolong because every kinetic hit against her just pumps her full of more energy, so she gets stronger and tougher. Sir, if you can be past that point where she's just like incapable of keep going, even though she's fucking fully powered up, she's unconscious on the ground. She's done with the fight. Tifa can't do that because Tifa fucking puts a lot of kinetic energy into her in the first punch. And she's like, "Oh, sweet! Thanks for the power up."
See, here's the thing: is like it's like Yang to me is like the person that like if we're talking about pure fighting strength and stuff like that, Yang is the person you just stand still and don't punch. Whereas Tifa's the person like you go toe to toe, you put Conor McGregor up there and then just watch him get slaughtered, and then you go, maybe we should bring a gun.
Yeah.
I just like how every time someone brings up an argument of like blank first blank, who would win? And it's like, well, you can't really gauge their strength other than what they did in A, video game, or B, anime, or B.
And that's the problem with all of this is like.
Yeah, that's the problem with all of this. Is like there's no way to measure this other than like, oh well, in this movie he punched a fucking steel beam, and it's like, well, but the thing is, it's an anime, and everything's like super like Superman powered bullshit. So it's like you can't really use that as a good measuring tool.
Although that being said, let's be honest here. Saitama versus Goku would be an awesome fight.
It would be an awesome fight, but Saitama wins because he's just the meta.
Yeah,
that is the entire point of Saitama. We all know.
The only way the Goku can win is convincing Saitama to be like, "Oh, there's a deal over at your favorite store right now. Yeah,
let's go get food.
Funds. Let's go get food. Like immediately."
Like I honestly wouldn't pay to watch that fight, if I'm honest.
I don't know if I would. I think personally, like as much as I like the idea of seeing Saitama versus Goku, I just personally think it would be.
Disappointing.
Just a very quick. It would be a very disappointing fight because.
You mean like Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor?
You mean the fact that Floyd?
Oh my god, topical.
Floyd McGregor versus Conor McGregor is a UFC fighter going up against a technical boxer.
Yeah.
I sat down.
It's like Rocky.
Yeah.
It's like Rocky 4 or 5. What number was that? Against a pro wrestler? Is that 3? I can't remember.
You mean he goes up against a pro Russian boxer? He goes up against a fucking black guy in the
pro wrestler.
I think it's
pro wrestler.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I don't think he actually goes up against a pro wrestler.
Yes,
he goes up against Hulk Hogan and destroys him.
Well, it ends up being like a fucking tie or some shit. I was like, that's dumb.
But that was the thing with the original Rocky is that Apollo Creed was the best boxer and gave him a title shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, that was the first movie.
Yeah, in the first movie, Apollo Creed destroys him. That's why in the movie Creed, like they make reference to the fact that Creed is actually a really good movie because they deal with Rocky like dealing with his mental issues and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like Creed is the sequel that everyone wanted.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna lie. Like all the Rocky movies. Okay. The one where he goes up against the Russian superstar, like the Russian super boxing star and all that shit, is still good. I will freely admit that. That's actually a really good movie. I understand why a lot of people don't like it. But at the same time, I find it fucking funny that a lot of people defend the fucking what's it called one, the second one I think it is,
Raging,
or the third. I can't like the one where he actually fights the black boxer. Even though it really isn't all that good of a, even though it really wasn't all that good of a movie.
Just make up a name for it.
Whatever.
Rocky 2.
Rocky Electric Boogaloo, whatever the fuck it is.
It's Rocky 2.
Is it Rocky 2?
I believe it's Rocky 2.
Yeah, I actually just really didn't like that movie.
Are you talking about like the part where he goes up against Apollo?
Maybe.
Or was it him versus Mr. T?
Whatever.
It doesn't matter.
Anyway, Expo was fun. Just I want to give a pro tip to anyone's going to any con at all. Make sure you're looking for the item you're buying. Make sure it's not a fucking fake. Because I got burned one year.
You mean like what happened with the Reaper statue in the hall?
There was a Reaper statue in the hall?
Yep, there was a Reaper statue. Like it looked a lot like what actually is for the Reaper statue. For like the one that they have produced by Blizzard. It's just a fucking knockoff, and holy crap. My friend saw it and she was like, I'm prepared by it, and she lifted it up and looked underneath it, and she was like, and she put it down, like, I gotta think about it though, and she walked away and she leaned over to me, and this is Chris. She's a really big Overwatch fan, and I don't blame her because Overwatch is a fun game. Hashtag buy Overwatch if you haven't bought it.
Yep.
But like the thing is that like she leaned over and is like, yeah, that was a fake, and I'm like, how surprising is that? She's like, what do you mean? It's like it, and I'm just like, well, do you really think they'd be selling something like that for $150 here? And she was like, probably not.
Yeah. Yeah, and for 1 year, I was trying to buy a Pokemon game, and I saw one dude selling them for $20, and I was like, "Ooh, wicked deal!" So I bought it, and when I came home with it and plugged it in, I was like, "Oh, what the fuck? It's loading. It's loading weird because it says it's loading game state, like it's in black text." And I was like, and I looked into it. I was like, "Yeah, you got a fake." I was like, "God fucking fuck!" I lost $20 that day.
Yep.
So now I have a really awesome keychain dangly. But yeah, like, just double check your shit just to make sure you're not getting ripped off, because they're fucking. You could be the smallest dude possible to be super nice, but you could just get fucked.
Yep. No, actually, this year was actually pretty nice. There wasn't too much I was interested in buying in because I didn't want to spend too much money. Like, I was like, I'm not gonna spend more than $200 this year, and I didn't. I kept my goal, but at the same time, there were things I was like,
I pulled out how much did I pull out? I think $220. Didn't realize the ticket was gonna be $40, so I was like, fuck. But I was like, whatever. And I think I still kept to that original $2 amount. I don't think I whipped out my credit card at all. No, wait. Okay, once. So I whipped it out once. So it's maybe $250, but I think I still did pretty well.
I was actually like with that lightsaber stand, I was straight up like staring at it going, I can afford the $400. I kind of want to do it. Because it's fucking wicked because you can it's 3 customized different versions of each like lightsaber hilt with an app that you can get on your phone that lets you change the color for the thing. It's a touch activation, so you flick your finger up to turn it on, you flick your finger down, and all you do is you rub your finger across like a heat sensor, and it turns on and off. It's really cool, and it's actually like they're like the material they use for like the saber is actually like a really strong plastic, and I'm like, yo. $400 for a saber I could actually do it with. I was just like, and on top of that, it's got a USB recharging system too. So I was like, you bastards.
Mm-hmm.
But then I by the way, like this convention just like dropped a lot of good news on me this past weekend, because it was like, oh look, the Imperial Guard are getting the new Codex coming out in 2 weeks time. I'm like, no, that's another $20 I'm about to spend. And then I found out another stall that was selling that had the model kit of how to make a Rebel pilot helmet. I was like, sweet, I can totally do that now. And then I ran into I went over to the 501st and I ran into Commander Cody, got a picture with him. I'm actually gonna be making that one of my Facebook pictures here soon. This convention was actually pretty good. The only problems I had were with some of the vending booths. It's not, they weren't that bad, but at the same time, they felt like they were just like crowded in a wrong, and like they were placed in bad situations. Like I feel like they should have like tried to force like all the weapons guys to be further apart is what I think they should have done. But they were like by a door, by there were like 3 of them in a row, and I'm just like, oh, you don't want to spend that much money in 30 seconds. Holy shit! Like I walked by the sword table, and I was like, no.
I felt like when you're walking into the expo, once you finally got your fucking wristband, it was just a clusterfuck in that one small little area, just trying to walk in and just see shit, because everyone's either going in or out of that same spot. And it's like, man, this wasn't planned at all, was it? Like, this is this bad congestion right here. Like, just right as soon as you're trying to just get in and see the shit. And it was right at the very tip of the was the artist alley area?
Yep.
Yeah, it's like right at the very tip of that. And it was like, oh, you don't want to stay here for long. Because, oh geez, a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. So other than that, it was like, it was a pretty decent show.
Oh, I have one more complaint. So there's a pretzel stand there, and Jeff, I think you'll like to hear this. That you sat there, you ordered the pretzels, and then you got the pretzels, and me and like all the people who we were there with, like including Chris, we bought 2 pretzels, and then we ended up splitting it off. Most of us scraping off like the vast majority of the salt off the pretzel, and then eating it. It's still going. It's too salty. Like these things, I don't think you saw these, Josh, but these things were like the top layer. Like you normally how you're supposed to only sprinkle on a little bit.
Yeah.
These things were coated. Like, they were fucking white. Like, we picked up one bag after cleaning it up, after, like, rubbing them off and getting rid of them. We held up the bag, and like, you know how like those sugar packs, how they're like the sugar's always piled up in one corner. It was like that,
Yeah.
but salt, and we're like, that's like death about to happen.
Yeah, I was very tempted to buy con food, but then I remember a good rule about con food is that you never ever buy con food. You don't. It's too expensive. You probably don't get your food worth out of your money worth, and you can just buy better food out of the con.
Actually, the ones that he got, the ones that he actually had in like in the vendors hall and stuff like that,
yeah,
were actually really good this time.
Because the one year I got kind of fucked over, and I end up waiting way too long for fucking food. I was supposed to get like, God, how long did I wait? Was it an hour and a half? It was way too long. I can tell you that.
Yeah,
it's just fucking bonkers for that one year. But whatever.
I think Jeff's getting stir crazy.
I had to go set up a console for my dad. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Yeah. My dad's like, I need to play a racing game. I shall play a racing game. I am going to play Forza. Can you set up the console for me? And I'm like, all right. Like, okay, I'll do this.
Hold on. Let me plug it in.
It wasn't like that. I have it set up already.
Oh.
When I move, everything's just coming with me. And then when he goes like, I want to play games, I'm going to be like, well, fuck.
Buy it. But also another thing to announce, I finally tried some apple cider at a bar afterwards with said friends and shit like that, and I was like, hey, apple ciders are good.
Said Scottish person?
No, actually it was someone else who we were grouped with, because we met another subgroup of friends, and we're like, okay, let's all go out into try to go to
Was this with
a Japanese restaurant?
Was this with the Scottish person or without the Scottish person?
With the Scottish person.
Okay, so did he drink you under the table?
No, he's extremely geeky. Oh. So no.
Oh, I'm disappointed.
I mean, I know geeks who like can drink me under the table, but then again, I don't drink, so like it's not that hard.
To be fair,
like, I can guarantee you, Jeff could probably drink me under the table.
To be fair, I haven't.
One thing's great.
To be fair, I haven't trained my liver in a year, so it would probably be far drinks.
You probably could still drink me under the table.
It'd probably be forced drinks, and then I would be falling over on the table.
The thing is, I can probably outdrink all of you.
Of course, Josh could outdrink all of us.
Counterpoint to the fact that you can outdrink us is the fact that you are like 50 pounds heavier than us.
Yeah, that too. Because I'm fat or big, I guess.
Josh is plushy.
I'm a plushy.
I'm
not trying to be wrong. Yeah. I'm being...
Well, I was going to add another note of the Scottish person where we're sitting at the bar. He whipped out his wallet to pay 1 or 2 drinks, and we're like, what's with all the other cash you have? And it's like, oh, this is pounds, this is German bills, this is that, this is this. It's like, why do you have all that on you? And he's like, I travel around. I was like, oh. I guess because you're part of the
European Union.
European Union. Just go whatever the fuck you want. And it's like, oh yeah, that's really nice.
Well,
yeah,
you gotta remember, Scotland's leaving with England, and as much as Scotland likes to believe that they are leaving the UK to be a part of continue to be a part of the European Union. What makes it really funny is they don't understand that Scotland actually agreed to be part of the United Kingdom, and even though Scotland may make the referendum to leave the UK, I highly doubt going back into the failing state that is the European Union is a smart move on Scotland's part.
You've been watching a lot of Sargon of Akkad's videos, haven't you?
A bit, yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I actually sat down and I had looked into it myself after seeing Sargon and a few other people like talk about it. I was like, okay, I gotta look into this because this is like I like the idea of like a unified market like that. And then I actually sat down and I read how Brussels works. I was like, oh my god, and how it basically, like, I'm not gonna lie, Angela Merkel actually pretty much just fucking runs the European Union. It like I know it's supposed to be like this like. It's not supposed to be a mega state, but it's supposed to be like just a an agreement to be, hey guys, we're all part of the one fucking one market. No, we don't need to worry about tariffs and stuff like that. But the way it's structured is like it's basically a fucking state, and it's basically the Fourth Reich. And but at the same time,
let's talk about Giant Bomb.
So Giant Bomb got the chicken dinner recently.
Just gotta stop the politics talks because
no, we'll talk about that.
Politics comes up later, and then you'll hear Josh groan immensely.
And then I'm gonna whip out my Pokemon game, so that'll be great.
So basically, what happened is Giant Bomb finally got the chicken dinner. It was a fog game and stuff like that. So they still fucking suck at the game. They're still terrible. They're like,
so you're telling me a game reviewer can't be a game was it a previews editor?
It's not even that. It's the fact that they're like, no, shotguns are the way to go. Shotguns are the way to go. And it's like, I've played PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. I know how hard the range game is, but it feels so good when you knock somebody down across a bridge and you're like, dead. This person's dead. And like, I've won 4 times with my 4 group of friends and stuff like that. Like, I won last night, as a matter of fact. And like, you don't win with shotguns. You don't.
You sure?
And it's very interesting to me because it's like the way they won was with shotguns and a fog game.
I mean, that makes sense.
And it changes the dynamic of the game. So like, and they've even admitted like they're not very good at the range game.
They really aren't.
No, they're not. And like that, I think, is one of the things that I really don't like about PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, but I can appreciate. Is the range game in it is so much harder than people understand.
I was gonna say, isn't the hitboxes in that game still kind of fucked because it's not supported? It's like the hitboxes, there's some sort of glitch of because it's over 100 and.
Let me rephrase that. It is hit or miss. Yeah.
Yeah, because like when it's over a certain amount, the boxes are fucked. If you're under a certain amount, way the game's like the game engine is meant to be played, it's like, we'll go back to normal now.
Yeah. So it's just. It's just the way that the game is built is just kind of the problem. But that being said, I honestly think that for what that game is, it's very interesting that they won that way. And that also being said, I have to say, I'm not too surprised that they won with shotguns, but I would like them to get better at the sniping. And the fact that they're saying they're going, well, like they should add this feature and this feature. It's like, no, they shouldn't. They shouldn't add this feature because that's the point, in my opinion, is the obtuseness of this stupid mode.
Yep.
It's so brilliant to me that like, and that's another thing that we should talk about. We should talk about the Fortnite PlayerUnknown Battleground controversy.
What happened there?
We'll talk about that sooner after I have this antidote. But like, the way PUBG works is like, it's so janky that it really shouldn't function, and that's part of the charm. And then it has such crisp range play that it's like, oh no, this is the way the game's meant to be played.
Yep.
That being said, PUBG recently became controversial after hitting the #1 spot on YouTube. And
really?
Yeah, or not on YouTube, on Steam. And they became controversial because Epic decided to make their own online game mode, and PlayerUnknown actually got upset. And I can understand their sentiments, but we also have to talk about this because it's kind of hilarious.
I was gonna say, like, with that new mode that's being added to Fortnite, wasn't it just like, because basically it was just in the first place for PUBG, it was a mod for another game, But every other publisher who has about the same type of game, they could just flip a switch and have that same thing. So it's like, where do people draw lines of where they can sue or not?
I think the issue that I have with this is like, it either way you look at it, what they did was wrong. But I can understand why they were so defensive of it, because it's epic. And like, if I'm PlayerUnknown and I made this thing and I made it from the ground up and it's my baby and my product, like, yeah, we would all get upset and stuff like that if somebody took something of ours and said, no, this is mine. And like, we would all get that way. Like, you can look at anyone and go like, and see them do the exact same thing. What's what?
Oh no.
What's oh no? You're
okay.
You crapped yourself.
So, to talk about like first-person shooters and games like that, we're gonna talk about the open beta for PC for the Call of Duty World War II.
Oh, you want to talk about that?
You want to know what its rating is online?
Teen.
How much do you say?
Oh, how much it's running on?
No, how much its rating is?
0%.
27% with 15,000 reviews.
You know what? Call of Duty is not Titanfall, and that is, you know what? It's very par for the course, and that's not even their fault. Like, that game franchise has just been going downhill. Like, if you want to talk about like a franchise that could probably use a mode like PUBG, that would be it.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think PlayerUnknown would let that happen.
Yeah, actually, it's sounding like the way I'm just quickly glancing through these like images, like the reviews and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them are like it feels rough. Like the way people are discussing it is like it feels like the hitboxes aren't correct. It's not optimized. It has a lot of unbalanced gameplay and it has constant crashes.
Oh, so it's like every single time somebody makes a PC port and it's just trash. Okay, that's good to know.
You mean even though this isn't like a PC port, it's a game that's meant to be played on the PC and is being ported to the consoles?
That's even worse.
Yeah, that's the reason why I'm like, oh.
I wonder if this had something to do.
It's being made by Sledgehammer Games, which
who made the last
Advanced
good
Warfare.
Who made the last good Call of Duty game? Let's be honest.
Yep. It's also being made by Raven Software, who also did Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 and 1 with Jedi Academy, Singularity. Oh my God, that's Call of Duty stuff. They haven't done very many games, but they did they did Jedi Academy and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And Jedi Outcast, which are like phenomenal games.
Yeah.
Which they both have a rating of 90 and 94, which means they are good games.
Yeah.
They also did they released Advanced Warfare and stuff like that, and I'm just like sitting here like playing to God. I want a good Call of Duty game, and this is my hope for it because it's going back to its roots.
No, what you want is Titanfall 2. That's what you want.
Make me play that game,
and that is probably the best Call of Duty game of all time because it fixes all of the problems with the create a class system. It is balanced, and it's not tied down to something. And the thing that people don't really understand is like Call of Duty died when the Zampelas left the company because they were busy fucking it over.
Yep.
But like then it was Treyarch, and then Treyarch recently dropped the ball with Black Ops 3. Yeah. And then Infinite Warfare came out.
And then, okay, so Infinite Warfare wasn't a bad game. I'm going to say this now. Like, Infinite Warfare wasn't a bad game.
No,
it had
and
its
if you
flaws.
compare it to Titanfall 2 and Infinite Warfare, they're both very good games and stuff like that, but Titanfall 2 is still
they're
better.
Phenomenal games.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Infinite Warfare has a problem of small maps with weapons that can kill you fucking fast, which is the problem. Is it's not like that's the reason why Titanfall succeeds where Infinite Warfare fails. Is Infinite Warfare is meant for small maps, like small teams of 4 to 6 players playing as 4 to 6 other players.
Not in,
But the weapons just like the weapons just prevent any game, like any combat strategy. It's just run and gun.
Yeah.
Whereas like I noticed with Titanfall and Titanfall 2, they're basically the same as Infinite Warfare, but it's, large expansive maps where you drop in a mech and that can like literally change the battle. If you're the losing team and you somehow get your mech down first, you can turn the game around just by deploying that mech.
and it's
Not even jumping in it, just deploying it.
yeah, and it also has a really good single player, which is I think the main thing that people weren't expecting with Infinite Warfare. And like Josh hasn't played either of these games, even though I keep on telling him to play Titanfall 2.
I have it on my list.
Josh, there's going to be a day where I go over to your house with your friend, and we're going to stream you playing Titanfall 2.
I'm up for this.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I'd be up for
we're
it.
just going to we should message him, make a day. He'll stream it to his Twitch account where we'll just be talking mad shit about how bad you're doing at Titanfall 2. And,
Yep.
and then you can sit there and be like, Jeff, you do this, and then I'll do it, and then die horribly, and then you can talk mad shit about how bad I am at video games.
Then you glitch out a world.
And then Josh can be, and then I can make fun jokes about how sucky I am at games. That game is actually really good, and everyone should play it. But that's the thing. Is I don't think no matter what Call of Duty does now, it's always going to be compared back to Modern Warfare 4, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 2. Am I wrong?
Nope. Okay, so here's the thing. I love the Modern Warfare series 1, 2, and 3. I actually fucking love them.
But
they are phenomenal.
But
games.
even Modern Warfare 2, you were going too.
No, actually, I wasn't. For me, the single player for Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3 was phenomenal. The best game that had the best online experience was Modern Warfare, and that was where it started going down. But then after Modern Warfare 3, they started almost just heavily focusing on online.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work when you start putting all these weird and high-tech gadgets in. The reason why World at War worked so well for online gameplay and single-player campaign was because they focused on single player and made multiplayer balanced with the fact that some of the weapons weren't historically accurate. They had to do that because, if they made them historically accurate, nobody would be using anything but the MP44 because that was one of the best guns in the war. But that's beside the point.
And that also is, and you have Blops, which is another game that is very good and stuff like that. And I think the one thing I really don't like about Blops 3 is it doesn't really tie back into the original story of Blops 1, which goes back to World War I or World War II. And you have to look at these, but the other thing is you look at these games and stuff like that, and we've had, how many Halos have we had? 5? We've had 5 Halos. We're going on to the 6 Halos. Call of Duty has about double that now.
Yep.
And it's you can't release a game every year and expect it to do gangbusters.
Nope. But the thing was, it did do game busters. It had Call of Duty 1, 2, 3, Big Red 1, Pacific, World at War, Modern Warfare 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
Black Ops 1, 2, 3,
Advanced
Infinite
Warfare,
Advanced Warfare,
and then
it wasn't Advanced.
It was Advanced, then
Yeah, that was
Infinite,
it.
and then World at War.
Yeah, and then World at War, World War 2.
And
They've had 12.
they've had 12 games in the span that Halo's had 6.
And
Halo-
Halo's had 8.
Halo Wars 2, Spartans.
No. Halo. I'm talking about just the
Oh
shooters.
yes, Halo.
Halo 1, 2, and 3,
Yeah.
4, 5, ODST, Reach.
Right. I forgot about those two. Forgot about the two very good Halo games that everyone goes, oh, it's terrible. These games are terrible. And it's like, no, you're just an idiot. You're just wrong.
ODST was fucking amazing.
Reach was good too. The single player of Reach is fantastic. The multiplayer was also really fun. And then everyone was like, Black Ops 3 is 2 is Black Ops is out. It was better in every way. Let's be honest. I honestly, like, if I had to choose between those two games, I would say that was probably the best time to be a shooter fan.
Yeah. I mean, the time when everything was good in life.
But, like, the other thing I have to say is that, like, you know, for 8 games, Halo really doesn't feel that stale.
It has its problems, but you know what? That's not the worst thing.
But we can address those problems, and those problems they fix.
They do get addressed.
Yeah, like, I think the big thing I have a problem with ODST and Reach is, like, very much so how that game plays and stuff like that.
Well, that's the thing, though. Those are the most apparently, Reach is the most beloved multiplayer setup other than Halo 2.
I would say...
And ODST is loved because it's
such a good story.
Because of Firefight in the story.
Yeah.
But, like, and we got to move on. We keep dawdling. I kind of want to go play some Warhammer 2, and you need to talk about Rebel Galaxy. Josh.
Every time I drift to my phone, I'm like, wait, I'm on a thing I'm supposed to be talking about.
Okay, so let's talk about Rebel Galaxy. It's a space game. That is all. Let's talk about Warhammer. It's an RTS. That is all. Rebel Galaxy is a good game. People should play it. It's a ship combat game. It's basically Sid Meier's Pirates in space. If you don't like,
I was gonna say how technical.
If you don't like that, it's very simple. If you don't like it, then fuck off.
Well, I should go and fuck off. Excuse me a second here. I'm just gonna go fuck.
Talk about Warhammer. Well, Josh is away. Oh, he's back.
Well, how about this? We both talk about Rebel Galaxy and Warhammer right bang off the bat, because I don't think we're going to be able to talk about the one political thing I want to talk about.
Let's do that, and then let's talk about the political thing, and then we'll go into the last thing. Yeah,
we need to get this done.
Yeah, I need to take my dogs for work. So go. So,
Rebel Galaxy. Let's go with that.
It's a game. It's fun. It's basically, I described it already. It's honestly, if I'm going to be honest, I constantly lose track of time because I end up just delivering soy paste all over the place. That's really it. Like it's.
I'm gonna leave foodstuffs to this planet, and I'm gonna love it.
Yeah.
Why do I like this game?
That's pretty much it. That's 90% it.
Okay, so that's me that's me watching somebody play the game I mentioned last week, which is fuck.
You don't remember?
Fuck. I don't remember it again. I'm actually looking through my
electronic boogaloo.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
that's what I named it. Yeah, that's what I named it in there. But I'm also currently playing Warhammer Total War 2.
So
hey, it came out. We got the Skaven, we got the High Elves, we got the Dark Elves, we got the Lizardmen. Fun game, really fun game. Actually, the mechanics of the game are fucking solid. They actually fixed a problem that I had with the original game, which was every region has like between two cities, one being the capital, which has usually had 6 slots, and the other one being a town which only had three building slots in it, plus the town slot. Like between 2 and 4 of those, I think. And the problem is you couldn't, like, you had to be like really stingy about how you built things. On top of that, sometimes multiple towns and other things in every area would have like special buildings to be built, and so that would knock out that slot. And they fixed the problem with the capital buildings, and most of the regions now have 8 building slots. So they have their main one plus 7 others, whereas with the other way around, it was only 5, which was just not enough. You can't build enough to do anything with that. On top of that, apparently High Elves is fucking easy mode, because when you're on turn 10 and you have almost 100,000 gold in your bank account, you're like, what am I doing?
Nothing? Crying? Tears?
No, 100,000 gold stored up.
Oh.
Yeah, while building armies and buildings and stuff like that, like leveling up. Like, how am I making so much money? What the fuck? I actually got really confused by that. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I actually hit, like, okay, it's not 100,000. I hit about 30,000 at one point, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm spending as this money as fast as I can get it in, but I'm making just nothing but like gold hand over fist. What the fuck? But then I kind of realized I'm playing the High Elves, and they apparently, like, their capital city, which is like their very, like, main capital city in the game, is a fucking trading port, and that's all you make is you just get fucking money out of there, and it's just like ridiculous.
It just
like,
prints.
Oh. It prints money, bitches, is literally the statement you have to follow up with. However, I will also say this about the game. For the most part, it's solid. I haven't experienced any crashes yet. I find the AI can be a little dumb sometimes. Like, I fought Chaos Warriors with an army that was apparently inferior to it, even though I had 2 stack more units than that. And I was like, oh look, I'm playing a choke point. And the AI goes, well, the AI was smart. It tried to go through the weaker side of the 2, because you have 2 choke. The way the map was set up is you have 2 points of choke points. And they tried to go through the weaker of 2, which only had 2 spearmen and archers, because I couldn't, like, the other one was bigger and wider, but this one was narrow and thinner. And the AI tried to go through there, and the moment I started shifting my army over, he didn't send any of his fast units around to get behind me. But that's just, again, AI being dumb, so surprise, nothing new there.
Surprise, motherfucker.
But, like, the game, like, the game runs so smooth. You can tell they've actually fixed a lot of the problems from the original game. The grand campaign, with it being like the race to the storm, which is the main objective of the campaign, is you gain control of the vortex in the middle of the High Elf kingdom. You have to gain control of it to, like, actually, like, win the game. And the High Elves actually have, like, a really good advantage on this, because they're so close to the vortex. They don't have to fight with many other armies to, like, maintain themselves. But you have so many other High Elf factions on the island that it's like, okay, can I have this province, please? No? Okay, how do I take this province from you? It'd be nice to get this province from you so I could do the objective. But then you just sit there for, like, 3 days going, like, how do I solve this problem?
And then you don't, and then you're crying tears.
And then you don't. Like, okay, in the original game, when back before they introduced Confederacy, you had to go to war with every faction of your race, period, to gain the territory that they had. And then the introduction of Confederation happened, which was way too easy to set off. Like, legit, like, my first time playing Dwarves with the new Confederation set up, there's a faction of Dwarves right next to you that has a full stack army at the start of the game, and within 10 turns of playing, like, you only start with one settlement as one of the dwarf factions, so you have to work to get Confederation off the bat. And I did it in 10 turns, whereas, like, any other faction, it's like, oh, I'm on turn, like, 30 or 40, and then you're getting your, like, first, maybe you're getting 1 or 2 confederations at that point. But, like, the dwarves, you're just Confederation. And that was the problem, it was done too easy. This one, holy crap, to get somebody to join the Confederation is just goddamn hard.
You have to
join us.
You have to literally suck their dick.
You literally have to suck their dick to get them to join your faction.
Oh, God.
But yeah, let's
That sounds like Space Sims.
So now we have to talk about the Antifa Anarchist event on November 4th.
Okay.
Okay.
So
do you want?
They announced. Okay. No. I'll give the premise for this. Free Speech Week is happening at Berkeley. Sweet, good things. That's a good thing. Antifa showed up. Okay, Antifa has now been publicly denounced by the media. That's really good news. Antifa has announced the fact that they're going to have an anarchist event on the 4th of November because remember the 4th of November from V for Vendetta, even though that wasn't the point of what V for Vendetta was. The point of the remember the 4th of November is because the leader, because there was an execution about a man who wanted to create a Catholic theocracy in England, and that was the day he was executed because he was just a straight up traitor to England.
He was a traitorous bastard.
He was a traitorous bastard who wanted to install a Catholic theocracy in England, which is since time immemorial, a democratic country, which is kind of fucking funny because even though Greece likes to pretend it's the most democratic country, England, the moment it picked up democracy, it's just oh, this is a really cool concept. And then they stopped, they looked at themselves, it's what the fuck happened to me?
Mm-hmm. It was the thing with, so here's what I'm going to say. The irony in this situation is so goddamn funny, it's not even worth talking about. Because if you watch V for Vendetta, he's literally fighting fascists who are using fascist tactics. If you look at anything Antifa does, they're basically communists using fascist tactics, which is just as bad and basically the same thing when you get down to it.
Yep.
And it's
if not even worse.
It's basically the horseshoe principle, where basically if you look at the horseshoe, if you look at a parabolica, both sides, closer to the center, you're a little bit different from each other. But if you look at it from the two sides, they're very close together. And they're basically the same thing in my head. And it's not funny and it's not cool. As a matter of fact, it's...
also, apparently, the way that this situation is going with the anti-fascists is they are now cannibalizing themselves. And me and Jeff have been online joking about, hey, the American Civil War is coming. Hey, yay, hey.
Yeah.
This time, I actually kind of agree with Sargon of Akkad. The police are actually cracking down on Antifa now whenever they show up. Same with By Any Means Necessary and one other movement. They're actually straight up cracking them down on them, and they're yeah, no, if you don't remove the mask, we're going to remove it ourselves and have you arrested for inciting violence. So Antifa is actually a lot of Antifa members yo, that's a bit too far. I don't want to have a criminal record at this point. And it shows how actually no, you live in a liberal democracy. Shut up, sit down. But you see what's happening. I'm just I don't think the Civil War is going to happen. But if a few people, if enough people show up on this November the 4th thing, a lot of people are going to get hurt. But Antifa is just going to shoot themselves in the foot at this point, and they're going to be branded a huge public enemy.
Well, the thing is that you look at anything Antifa has done lately, and you have to ask the question: did Antifa? Antifa hasn't done a lot of things positive. Antifa has done a lot of things right, but they haven't done anything really positive. They basically set out an objective, went for it, and then failed epically.
I don't even really think they set themselves up for an objective.
But basically, my point is you don't mess with democracy and get away with it.
No, it's...
And you don't expect the knife to turn back on you. That's the thing I think that's the thing that pisses me off the most is they're sitting there beating the shit out of people and then they're facing no consequence. And it's it's not a joke when I sit there and say, I think the Civil War is going to happen. It's honestly a big, massive fear of mine. Because
I'm scared of that happening too.
Because it's
I'm terrified
because
of that actually being a thing.
Yeah, like it's not like I look at this thing and it's like, oh, I don't see a problem here. It's like I look at this thing and I see 5 people literally screaming at each other and telling them that they suck repeatedly, and then beating the shit out of somebody just because they say, well, I don't agree with this point. And it's not okay. It's just not. It's like you can't attack someone because you don't agree with their ideology. And and I think that's the thing that's like really infuriating to me is like these people will attack anyone because they don't agree with their ideology. Now, that being said, I gotta sit there and bring up the I gotta bring up the football fiasco, which is even more infuriating to me because it's like, why did you say this?
Yep.
For those of you who don't know, Donald Trump decided to open his big fat mouth and say that we should fire people who do not stand for the anthem. And I'm going to give my opinion on it, and then I'm going to say the reason why I'm disappointed in Trump, and the reason why, I'm going to say this at one time, and hopefully this gets my point across. I don't like Trump very much, but he's the president of the United States, and I have respect for him because he is the president of the United States. It's not that he is the best person in the job, in my opinion. It's the fact that the person he went up against and he won. And for people who don't like the fact that Hillary Clinton didn't win the election, maybe Hillary Clinton shouldn't have cheated. There.
Yep.
But you don't sit there and attack someone for using their rights and freedoms.
Yeah.
And as a person who played sport, it is fucking atrocious to me that he felt the need to do that. Now, my personal opinion on the matter is that they shouldn't be doing that because that is meant to, there was a better way to message that than kneeling during the flag ceremonies and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, maybe setting up a charity event and donating money to the legal defense of the victims of police shootings and putting these people behind bars. Yeah. Because in my opinion, in my opinion, the people who did the crime of killing 2 people, like Trayvon Martin, who was the guy who died in Ferguson? I don't know. I don't think it was Trayvon Martin. Michael Brown.
I know who you're talking about. Michael Brown. Actually, okay. So here's the thing with the situation for Michael Brown and
that one is like one's not even like clear cut. It's like Michael Brown. You don't pull the gun, and if you don't pull the gun out, and if Michael Brown did exactly what he said, the cop said, then yes, the cop had every right to shoot him.
Yeah,
but there is
but the thing is, the witnesses all had so many conflicting statements, and it was. It's a thing that I sit down, I go, no, the court made the right decision there because they literally had so many conflicting statements from so many witnesses, and the evidence didn't point either way either. Like, they pointed mostly actually towards the cops for the most part.
Well, the thing
is, they also had the way the witness statements were done. They're like, well, we don't know. So we can't, and the really big thing for me is when I hear somebody turn around and go, it was Michael Brown who got killed. It was a police shooting, da 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 da. I'm like, well, no, the police, if the records are to be believed, and that's the thing is, I trust the police to a point. There are some things where I go, okay, I don't trust you. But with this, I kind of have to sit down and I'm like, okay, so what was the situation? I actually, back when it happened, I looked into it. I was like, actually, I don't think this is the wrong decision. The choking one, which was the one in New York, and I think that's the other one you mentioned.
Well, no, the Trayvon Martin one is the cop rolls up in 10 seconds. Trayvon Martin's playing on a playground. He's like an 11-year-old kid, and they just blow his brains off. And it's like, dude, that is 10 times worse than anything else. The choking one is also terrible because those people, he says, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. And it's like, that is murder. It's manslaughter. The Trayvon Martin one is murder because you just see a kid walking out in a field and he just gets shot. And it's like, it's not okay. It's really not okay that that's the case. But you know what? There are better ways. Like, I would have sat there and said, oh, Colin Kaepernick is actually doing a good thing if he sat there and said, I'm donating money to the family. Yeah. And if he sat there and then he sat there and said, I'm donating money to the family because this guy's a scumbag. And I'm also donating, and I'm also getting them a lawyer because that would have done something. And the thing that angers me the most is that this isn't. Trump has every right to say what he said, but he doesn't have every right in order to sit there and say this is not okay and you should be fired. It's like, no, they're expressing their opinion. There are better ways to do it, but I will sit there and defend his right to do those things. And the thing with Colin Kaepernick is just like, it's not selfishness, it's not stupid, it's not dumb, it's just not entirely thought out. And you're criticizing a bad idea when it's really just like, oh, well, it's not that terrible of an idea. I can see where you went from A to B to C. And that's why I'm so angry and passionate about this, is because it's like Trump is in the wrong here. And if any liberal wants to sit there and say, well, I thought Jeff liked Trump, it's like, no, I don't. I only support him because it's like, I'm sick and tired of liberals being like, you're a racist fuck. Like, it just angers me. And it's like, it's just stupid. You don't do that. Anyways, anything else?
Yep. I think that's it. I just want to be done tonight.
You just want to be done? I also want to be done. I'm a little bit, I feel like I got something off my chest.
And Josh is just sitting in the corner.
Josh, talk about Pokemon.
Oh, what? Oh,
Josh, we're done. Huh? Josh, we're done.
Oh, thank God. Okay, so Pokemon. They re-released Gen 2 Pokemon, and I just did some research in Gen 2, and it turns out you can make super easy shiny Pokemon. I'm not, because they don't attach it to your ID number or secret ID number. It's to the Pokemon's IV values. So if the IV values are perfect, you get a shiny Pokemon right away. So basically, if you have like, oh, this Pokemon's 3 IVs really perfect, this other one's 3 IVs really perfect, breed them together for 64 times. Oh, whoa, I got a shiny.
Hey.
And also the stats are fucking stacked. Woo!
This is so that's what you've been doing this week, haven't you?
Yep, I'm just playing the game and I'm like, oh, I can't wait till I get that stupid shiny Gyarados. That means I can grind for more shiny Pokemon. Woo!
Anyways, thank you everyone for listening to the Black Mind Podcast. My name was Jeff. Thank you. I thank you for listening to my rant about how angered I was. You can also listen to us on every Thursday of every week. My name was Allan, or my name is Jeff. Joining me as always was Allan and Josh.
No, your name's Allan. Now Allan's name is Jeff, and I'm still Josh.
And you can listen.
Night,
you can listen to us on Podbean.com and iTunes, as well as YouTube. Thank you, and have a good night.
Yep. Button, I guess.
You should. You bitch.
Do we want to talk about anything
freaking you guys are like just blah 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 politics, blah blah blah, people, racism, blah blah blah, and I'm like,
I don't care.
Josh, I'm gonna respond with you're talking with two guys who actually enjoy politics.
You're talking about Josh is going to be so fun when we eventually
Have a studio.
You make that freaking political thriller video game, and I'm just sitting in the back going, Jesus fuck, kill me!
Josh is just going to be rocking back and forth, being like it's almost over.
Did you work on this video game? I sure did, but I don't give a fuck.
He's gonna go. Anita Sarkeesian's gonna go up to him and he'd be like, Josh, what do you think? And then Josh is gonna be like, look at her and just grab the microphone and just be like, bitch, I don't care. Drops the mic, walks away, and then she just goes, wow, what a fucking jackass. Like, you're just gonna have me and Allan just sitting there looking, laughing our heads off, going, wow.
No, you're just gonna have your hands in your hands in your head, going like with big smiles, going like, fuck, oh fuck.
This is the type of misogyny that happens at Black Mind.
Then I might have to like just
meanwhile like
make a video, be like, I don't care. I just don't care. Let me work.
That would be hilarious.
I can see that.
I could see Josh.
Yeah.
I could see Josh more likely like building a car, working on a car, just like has like a shop of his own. It's like building a computer.
Okay, first of all, it's not a car; it's a pinball arcade shop.
He's
Which I'm fixing up.
He's building a pinball machine, and it's like this. It's like this dirty, like garage-looking junk thing.
You've seen me with the freaking Hawaiian like t-shirt and glasses. And I'm like, I'm kind of frail, but I'm yet like know what I'm doing, how I'm building these fucking pinball machines. It has like a cover over top of it, like that has like a prancing horse on it, just because. And it's like, and then like you have like a prancing
woman
Pokemon.
Yeah,
it's a prancing Pokemon on
it. We need to do this. We need to do this.
All right, let's get synced in. Let's get synced in. I will put my things in. So, Antifa.
Sync.
And Archist.
Hold on.
Event in November the 4th. Remember the 4th of November. Which I don't think any of them fucking know what the actual meaning behind that is, but that's beside the point.
November, the 5th of November?
The 4th of November. Remember the 4th of November.
I thought it was the 5th. Oh, no, it's the 4th.
It's the 4th because because the day of celebration was the 5th, and he wanted to get at them the day before. Total War Hammer 2 Electric.
I was gonna say I found that on Steam, and I was like, ooh,
Good so far.
It looks good.
And the final thing is Edmonton Expo and Lego
Expo.
Wow, I can't even type tonight.
I got it.
We do need to talk about the fucking Antifa thing. Like, I am adamant about talking about that. And Josh, you do really need to talk about it with us tonight.
Okay.
About what?
Okay.
God, it's gonna be like high school all over again. Go into social class,
Josh. What
fade out in the entirety of the
Josh?
fade out in the entirety of the class, and then be like, oh wait, what am I supposed to be learning? Oh shit, did I make notes? I did. Cool, I can read those.
Josh, what are your opinions on the Nazi genocide of the Jewish people?
Oh, God.
It's bad.
This is how I imagine Josh. Oh well, what do you think about communism? I don't know.
That's bad. I mean, come on, people. It's genocide of race and any genocide. Think for a second, you frickin' dipshit.
I'm sorry, Josh. I had to make you a butt of a joke.
That's okay.
It's fine.
To be fair, I make myself a butt of a joke all the time. Anyways, let's sync in 3, 2, 1.